What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Make Sports Easy, where we're going to just make sports fun. This is a little bit stripped down. It's not fancy. We don't got a spot where we're going to have recordings officially yet. So right now, this is just first come, first serve. So we wanted to talk about something that maybe interests the person that's a fan in your life. Remember, once again, we're here to help educate you, make things fun, make it easy, so that you're able to have conversations with your friends, family, loved ones, coworkers who are talking about sports, or you can learn it for yourself, or maybe you wanted to relate to your spouse or your kids a little bit more. So we're here to educate you on that and have you equipped with different storylines and things that you can say during the game, and just so you can understand overall. We want to talk about quarterbacks today. With the preseason coming to a close, we want to talk about quarterback battles, because that is something that doesn't really happen that often in professional sports. But this year, we got a lot of different quarterback battles going on. So what's a quarterback battle? A quarterback battle is when your team doesn't have a starter set in stone, someone that's going to definitely lead your team during the regular season. So what does that look like? A starter that's normally entrenched is somebody like a household name. Think Dak Prescott. Think Patrick Mahomes. Trying to see what other players I can think of right now that you might know. Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers. Caleb Williams. I mean, he's on the cover of Madden for the Chicago Bears. Those type of players. Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen, to name a few. Didn't want to leave them cats out. Joe Burrow. But those teams already have their plan set in stone. Other teams have quarterback battles. Now, oftentimes there's not a legit quarterback battle. It's kind of already decided before they play. It's kind of just going through the motions before they can decide it. So this year we have some legit battles going on, and that we might go into the season. But the preseason is to help the coaching staff evaluate who's going to be first out, who's going to be the first one to have a chance to lead the team, and kind of have to lose that position with poor play or, God forbid, any injury of sorts. So there's a lot of different types of battles going on right now. One of them has already been settled as of the recording of this video, and that is in Minnesota. That is, it was a battle against Kyler Murray, who came from Arizona, and J.J. McCarthy, who was drafted by the team. So Kyler Murray was a free agent. He's no longer with the Cardinals. Handpicked, if you want to say, Minnesota as a team he wanted to go to because of their struggling offense last year, and he was able to win that job. So that position is closed. And before we go on to the last two, we'll talk about other different quarterback battles, because it's not just for the starting position, it's also for the backups. Because what if you have an older quarterback who's more likely to get injured in this physical game of football? Well, you got to know who your backup's going to be if you have any chance or any expectation of having a successful season. So in those instances, you have the Los Angeles Rams quarterback who won the MVP of the league last year, Matthew Stafford. People are trying to figure out what his health status is going to be throughout the duration of the season. So who's going to be his backup, just in case he gets hurt, because he's more susceptible at an older age, and with injuries that have piled up for playing this very difficult game. You have Stetson Bennett. Just giving you some names, so just in case you're engaged with the fan of the Los Angeles Rams, if you're out in that area. Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson. That one's an interesting one because Stetson is considered a veteran now, and Ty Simpson had a lot of cachet going into the college football season, struggled a little bit, but still people see him as a high talent. Is he going to be the guy to follow Matt Stafford, or Stetson Bennett done enough during the preseason to put himself in that number 2 slot? It's really interesting to see how that's going to play out. So that's something that, as I like to say, your super fan will be looking into and be interested to see how that's going to unfold, as they kind of drafted Ty Simpson as the future of the team. So we'll see how that goes. Another team is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a tough one. because while Matt Stafford played at an MVP level last year, Aaron Rodgers did not. So it's kind of like you want it to be the best that it can be, but you're still sitting on the fence. Like, man, like, is this really the direction we want to go with our team, our organization? Because as a young guy, Will Howard drafted last year, this year, Drew Aller, uh, Will Howard showed well in the preseason, but so did Drew. He had a nice game. So who's going to be the backup there in case anything were to happen with their starting quarterback? Hopefully, knock on wood, nobody gets hurt. So we'll have to see how that goes. Another situation, not so much with an older starting quarterback, but with a quarterback in Kirk Cousins with the Las Vegas Raiders. No one really expects a lot from the Raiders this year. Let's just be real transparent about that. But at the same time, these are professionals. This is a livelihood that they are trying to sustain, and your quarterback is a big part of that. Like if he does well and performs well and carries the team, shoot, everybody eat a little bit more on the table. You know what I'm saying? So with that, the backups there would be Francisco Mendoza and then Aiden O'Connell, who has shown well in some NFL starts. But Francisco, I mean, Heisman Trophy, national championship, #1 overall pick. A lot of people expect him to just come on and take the reins. But Tom Brady, as you may have heard, is a quarterback who considered the GOAT, is in the organizational infrastructure of the Raiders. And his big thing is that more quarterbacks are ruined than are, than are helped out through their career. They're hurt more than they're helped. They're ruined because they're put in too early when the infrastructure isn't around them. So his plan is to have Francisco sit as long as possible. But will the fan base agree with that? Will they push them to do whatever? As long as Kirk is healthy, I feel like he'll hold down that spot. He's a very solid, serviceable quarterback. Has been for a long time in the NFL. And we'll look forward to seeing how that goes. Now, on to the last two quarterback competitions that are going on. Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix Jr. How are they going to make that selection? Because Michael Penix coming off of surgeries, he's had a long laundry list of injuries going back to his time at Temple, all his college years. So he just got cleared to practice 11 on 11. So it's kind of curious how they're going to look at that, because it wasn't really a legit quarterback battle if the guy who was vying for the second spot was injured most of the time. Tua has had a lot of concussions. People are really doubting him, not thinking that he can really lead a team. He's just a system quarterback. Let's see how he pans out. Really interested in seeing that. Right now, I would assume Tua has the lead because, I mean, Penix hasn't been able to play. So that'd be interesting to see if they turn to Penix after him not playing, because then it's like, was it really a competition to begin with? Who knows? And then to the piece de la resistance, will Cleveland make their decision by the time this video comes out? I don't know. But it has been a competition between Shador Sanders and Deshaun Watson. And while Cleveland, much like we talked about the Raiders, there's not a lot of hype coming into the season about their prospects of being a winning football team, much less making the playoffs. So, but it is still very polarizing players. Would love to see Shador get the shot, not just off of general principle, but because of what he showed last year and with the youth on that team, to see if you could build something to the future, because Cleveland has a lot of first-round picks. Keep that in your brain. And if they're able to get the quarterback decided upon, man, they could go ahead and keep building around him, and they could do so in a very financially friendly way to the team. So that would give them more flexibility to bring in some top players. So with watching some of the games, the two of the games, a little bit that I was able to see, I mean, Deshaun hasn't played in like 2 years because of injuries and stuff like that. So he's had a long road back just to make it on the field. However, I mean, it didn't look as great as it could have. Same with Shador, but Shador being, if it's about even, you want to go, I would say go with the younger guy. But it looked like from an untrained eye that Shador has edged this out and should be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. But that's up to the leadership to make that decision. I say it's going to be basically a decision made by the head coach, because a lot of people think the front office is going to make that decision because, I mean, Deshaun's owed like 40 something mil. Like he's owed a lot of money this year, and it was like, well, because he's owed the money, they got to play him. Just to kind of justify the decision to give him that contract that was fully guaranteed off rip, because he was playing like the Magic Man while he was at the Houston Texans back in the day. So we look forward to seeing how all these pan out. But if you have a super fan of any of these teams, this is what they're looking at. They're looking at the quarterback battles, trying to see who's going to be the backups in case of an emergency situation, and to see who's going to lead the team. In Atlanta especially, because they have talent galore at every position that they need talent for. And if the quarterback could just be the trigger man and be the point guard, like, you ain't even got to be special. They got arguably the best running back in the league. They have easily a top 10 combo when it comes to wide receiver, tight end with Pitts and London, and then they brought in a lot of speed with Zachariah Branch. Offensively, they straight. They just need someone to not mess it up. And then defensively, they're going to be more serviceable, and they brought in people to rush the passer. So Atlanta is a big one to look at. Minnesota, they had a good season despite bad quarterback play. So we'll see how that goes. I hope that you enjoyed this video, got some information from it, something in your back pocket, something to talk to with your super fan. And until next time, hope y'all enjoy the rest of the preseason, and we'll see you next week.